Super excited to talk about Draft2Digital today because this is one of the places where I upload my book to sell ebook copies online. And this is used to go wide. It just basically means you're publishing your book outside of Amazon. And that includes vendors like Apple and Nook and Kobo and libraries and you name it. So we're finally going to dig into how to upload your book to Draft2Digital, as well as point out two amazing bonus features on Draft2Digital, which is their formatting options and their universal book link. We're going to dig into all of that. And it's about time, because if you saw my video recently about where I publish online, why I publish to these places online, then you know I talk about KDP, Draft2Digital, and Ingram Spark. And I have a video on how to upload to KDP and all of that goodness. I have a video on how to upload to Ingram Spark and how to figure that out, but I have never done a video on how to upload to Draft2Digital. Now, really quick, I have done a video on how to make ARCs of your book, advanced reader copies, and how to send them, and a big part of that is using Draft2Digital. So if you have missed that, I'm going to link it below that you can go watch it after this. But for right now, I'm going to pull up my computer screen and we're going to dig into how to actually upload your book to Draft2Digital. Spoiler, it's super easy. To upload a book, you go to the My Books page and you just simply click Add New Book. Now, you might have noticed on that screen that the Enchanted Crown is already uploaded and it's available for pre-order in case you're curious. All the links are below, but we're going to pretend that it's not. And so what I'm going to do is use my uploading dock right here, where I have gathered all of the information that belongs to this specific book and put it into this Google Doc. And I did talk about that in the video on where I publish my books, why, and how I juggle them. So go watch that video. I will link it below if you want to know more. But what I'm going to do is simply copy paste. And this is the amazing thing about having an uploading dock, is you just literally go back and forth. Fill in the publisher, which is yourself, and fill in the series name if you have one. Fill in the author name, obviously. The Enchanted Crown is the 4th book in the series and the last book. And search terms is actually keywords. So for keywords, let's go over to our keywords right here. For example, Sleeping Beauty. I'm just clicking Command Control. There you go. Click Enter and put in a keyword. Now, be careful not to put them all in as one big keyword. You're going to want to enter them one at a time like this. Some of these keywords are just off the top of my head. I'm not sure if they're that great. So I need to go in and do some keyword research, but for right now, I'm going to keep it pretty basic. But for example, this is a category, so I could also make it a keyword. The nice thing about keywords is on here, you can grab them and move them around. And you can also delete them if you need to, and you can add more whenever you need to. Where it says BISAC, or however you want to pronounce that, think of this as your online bookshelf. So these categories need to describe your book as best as possible, because this is going to tell Draft2Digital and then essentially tell all the other vendors where to put your book on the online shelf. So if, for example, you write a fantasy but you put your book in dystopian, it's on the wrong shelf, and the readers who are going to browse that shelf are going to browse right past it because it's not the genre that they read. That's not why they came here. So it's very important that you get your categories right. The nice thing is that if you don't know what to write in this box, and most people don't, you can go ahead and browse down here. So for example, let's go ahead and find young adult fiction, and then you're going to see tons more categories. So what you're going to want to do is you have big umbrella categories, but you're going to want to narrow it down to what you call subcategories or subgenres as much as possible. The more specific you can get, the better. For example, I see fairy tales and folklore adaptations. That's for sure going to be the Enchanted Crown. If you click one and you're like, no, that's not really it, you can just delete it like that. If this was the Ginny Key, this would be the perfect category. I think there's also a dragon category. So there's also royalty, which is so cool. Technically, yes. So I might try out this category and then go browse it later. So keep in mind that these are not set in stone. Even if your book is already published, you can go back in and change this. You can essentially move it to a different shelf. But for right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick a few of them. And then my goal as I do this, if I was actually publishing this book right now, would be to write down these categories that I'm picking and go ahead and browse them on the Amazon store and see if my book actually fits into those categories or on other stores, and take a look at the books around them, maybe get ideas for other categories that I didn't think of to try, and put my book in those. So just keep in mind that a lot of this is research, but you can initially put some things in just as placeholders. So that's what we're gonna do, since I can't remember what I actually picked. It lets you pick up to 5 on Draft2Digital, and then it stops you. So if I was to say, okay, royalty, actually that's very accurate for this book, but legends and myths, maybe not so much. I'm gonna delete that and I'm gonna put in anthologies, but I don't really know. I'm just making stuff up right now. Not all of these are perfect for the Stolen Kingdom. The first 2 definitely are. And just keep in mind for Draft2Digital, I think it's Apple Books only goes by the very first one. So for example, if I thought royalty was the best one, I would want to drag that into the first place spot so that it goes into the correct category. I think it's Apple. But for me, fairy tales and folklore is for sure the #1 category that I put this whole series into, so I make sure that that's the top #1 spot. If you didn't have cover art yet and you still wanted to go through this process and start setting up your book, you could. Since I do have a temporary cover that I made, it's not the actual cover, it's just a temporary cover that I made to make it so I could do pre-orders, I'm gonna click that and then it's gonna ask me to upload it. You'll notice that it says don't upload a full, like a wraparound cover. They only want the front cover, which I'm pretty sure most of you already figured that out. There's my temporary cover, and if you guys have been watching some of my videos, you know that I have talked about how I could do a video on how I make temporary covers. This one's super basic, it's not even artwork, it's just something as a placeholder so I can put up pre-orders. But if you want that video, comment below. If I get enough votes, I'll push it up the list. But for right now, we've got our cover set up, and if you didn't, you could click the option that you're not ready and you just don't have a cover yet. We've got our title, series, publisher, author, categories, and keywords, so we're gonna click Start ebook. The next step is to put the file online. This is only the 4th draft, which means it's still absolutely terrible and not something I'm ever gonna show you guys. And you're gonna wanna click the release date that you know for sure you can make. So don't put it on tomorrow and then be like, oh shoot, I don't think I can make it. Most of these companies, from what I understand, will be okay with you changing your date, but your readers will be frustrated, and it's not a reputation you want to have. So it's better to set a date that's further out than you think you can do than a date that's closer than you think you can do. Let me rephrase that. That came out kind of weird. It's better to give yourself extra time than not enough time. That's what I'm trying to say. This says right now the book will go live in 21 hours. It's letting me know at the top there. So I'm going to say heck no. Let's go ahead and put my actual release date, which is March 23rd, 2021. Now we're gonna go back to that uploading doc, and I'm gonna scroll down to the blurb section. I had fun including a bunch of praise for book 1 that I had some author friends do, and I also included what you'll see here at the bottom, which is the Stolen Kingdom reading order for the series. You don't have to do these things, but I find that it's helpful, and I've seen other author pages have that. And then this is kind of fun. You can format it. So say I want this first line to be big and bold. I didn't mean to italicize it, but it looked kind of cool, so why not? Let's say that I also want to make it clear that there are 2 other main characters. So there's Rena and then there's Nezrin. And I want to make it clear that this book brings all 3 of my main characters together in book 4. So kind of a fun little surprise. That's what's gonna happen if you didn't know. This little tagline thingy is always bold, so I'm gonna make that bold. I'm also gonna bold all the headers, so that one, and then right here, the Stolen Kingdom reading order. And then if you wanted to do other fancy stuff, you could. I like to keep it pretty simple, but you can play around with this because I love that you can format it to whatever you need it to be. Down at the bottom, you'll see it says 2 options for the ISBN. Now, if you missed the last video where I talked about ISBNs, it stands for International Standard Book Number. So it's your book's identifying number. It is sort of like your book's fingerprint or DNA. It is specific to your book. But the nice thing about Draft2Digital is that you do not have to pay for an ISBN. I think I said this slightly different in my last video where I said you don't even need an ISBN, but in this case, it looks like they do want you to pick. You'll notice that ebook and print ISBNs must not match because every version of the book is its own version and gets its own identifying number. So we're gonna go ahead and get the free Draft to Digital ISBN. If you wanna know more, I will link the video I did recently on where I publish and why and how, where I go into ISBNs a little bit, and I'll also link below my video where I go more in depth on ISBNs and publishing companies. So that was the details page. Now we're on the layout, and this is where I really love this. This is where we get into formatting. If you didn't have a title page, copyright page, a dedication, also by, teasers, email signups, about the author, about the publisher. If you didn't have some of these pages, Draft to Digital helps you put them in after the fact. So, oh my gosh, they're amazing. I love this company, but as you can see, it will actually lay out the pages that I currently have. So right now I have 39 chapters and I have a title page and a copyright page. I could add in a teaser about another book. Like for example, normally you want to make a teaser for a book coming next, not a previous book, but if I wanted to, if this was leading into, say, Evelyn's number, I could put in a little teaser for that. And it's showing me all my other books that I have on Draft to Digital, which is awesome. I've never actually used this one before. Let's do that for kicks, because I've never done this. And also by, would be really fun to put, I'm gonna put it at both the beginning and the end of the book. I'm gonna have them include all my other books. I have no idea what this is gonna look like, because normally I do all this formatting on my own before uploading the book to Draft to Digital, but just for fun, let's also add a dedication to my most amazingest YouTube viewers. That's all of you. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm gonna save and continue. Okay, we're gonna go into the layout for the Cursed Hunter here because I did not want to show you the first page of the Enchanted Crown. It's definitely not ready yet. So we're gonna click save and continue after you make sure that those are your chapters. And this is my absolute favorite part. And this you can do without ever publishing your book. If you didn't want to publish on Draft to Digital, you could still get to this stage and format your beautiful ebooks. I love the formatting on Draft to Digital, and I use this to send out ARC copies, advanced review copies, or advanced reader copies, whatever you want to call them. But for today's purpose, I just want to show you some of the cool options. So this is my also by page that I made myself, but you can also, if you saw it, make an also by page in there. Let's go to chapter 1, and I love this header. It's perfect for a dragon book, but fantasy also has a lot of other cool options, like a crown, whatever that is. This one feels very sci-fi to me. This fantasy one is what I use for, I think, books 1 and 2 in the series for ebooks. This is also very classy and has a little bit more of a sci-fi vibe, but it could go either way. And I love that they also have romance designs here. I like that coffee cup. The mystery and thriller is actually really cute. I think this looks a little bit fantasy to me. And so does this one. This is very classy. A fingerprint. The all-purpose, there's like super basic, there's a watercolor or one in the corner. Whatever that is, kind of looks like an award to me. This is super classy. I love that. I could definitely change my books to that as well. Or a very minimal looking one that's just kind of a line. And then, now notice how the formatting is here and it's all smushed together like a typical fantasy read, but if you switch to the nonfiction options, it's actually formatting more than just that header. Actually, all of it is. It's formatting the whole book, but here you can really see how it does, where it has the spaces between every paragraph. And the textbook one is the same way, but it has the drop caps on that H there, and it has just some really cool design elements to it. So let's go back to the one that I like, which is the dragon. And I'm going to show you how it actually formats within the document as well. When you have those little star, you know, like a breaking up of scenes within a chapter, it will turn them into cool things like this. What is another example? Let me show you. There it is. Okay, where the heck did it go? Ooh, look at that. So anyway, you can play around with this. You can make your formatting really beautiful, and then once you have it formatted to your liking, you could publish it, which is this option at the bottom where it says I have reviewed this manuscript and I approve it for release. But you don't have to publish. You can also go to this right side section right here where it says download a MOBI file, download an EPUB file, or download a PDF. If you wanted to, for example, do an audiobook or a print project, you can make PDFs here of your novel with the beautiful formatting, and it's all stylized and perfect. Or if you are uploading, say you don't want to use Draft to Digital, but you do know that you need a certain type of file to upload to Nook or Kobo, or to send an ARC copy to those types of devices, you can download an EPUB. for me, I download a Mobi file, which is how you send books to a Kindle. So whenever I am sending out ARC copies or early reader copies to my patrons, I send out Mobi files. This is so helpful. Again, I have a video all about that. Go watch that if you want to know more. So that was the details. Then the layout is right here. I have it back on Dragon. And if you were to review it, you would want to go through from front to start. If you're actually publishing, you would want to go through page by page and make sure, okay, looks good, looks good, looks good. Okay, awesome. And then you're going to click I have reviewed it. Make sure you actually review it though. And then you're going to go ahead and have a published book. That brings us to step 4, which is publishing. This is where you can see all the stores where you can place your book. And I have currently Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Apple, Tolino, but then also you'll notice that Amazon has its own separate category here because this is KDP and it strictly monitors how you submit it. So it says don't select your Amazon distribution if your book is already on Amazon, like you've done the KDP setup, which I have, so I don't select Amazon. I also include my book in Scribd and something called 24 symbols. I don't know what those are, but I figure I'd rather have my book out wide and have people able to get it if they want to, and there's royalties, so why not? I do have it set up for Kobo Plus so that it also distributes to Belgium, the Netherlands, and Canada. And then there are library services at the bottom. So you can see that Draft2Digital does a lot for you. And instead of you having to go specifically to each one of these websites individually, you can do all in one, and Draft2Digital pushes it out to all of those websites for you. The library services that I currently have is Overdrive, Biblioteca, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Baker and Taylor. And I don't know what Hoopla is. Again, I need to do some research because some of these places I am just fully unaware of. I pretty much buy books on Amazon, let's be real here. But not everybody does, so it's helpful to do your research and figure out where you want your book online. When I put in my price at the top here, I do believe it calculated the library price for me, but you can also read here that it says to approximately do 2 or 3 times higher than your digital book. So that's what it is, it's 2 times higher. And then you'll also notice that the royalties change if you change this. So for example, you can see the projected royalties change right there. Or if maybe someday I'll make my books $4.99 instead, it's like the tiniest little change. Look at that. So $3.99 you make $2.37, or $4.99 you make $2.97. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it at $3.99. And then here is where you actually publish the book. So I have published this before, so right now the button says apply changes, but then it brings up this little thing that says publish my book. So you're gonna wanna select that you are the original creator, right? You should be. And then you also want to select I confirm that I have all the rights necessary to make this content, the cover image, and all the other data provided by me available for marketing, distribution, and sale. And so you do have to make sure that your cover is something that is allowed to be sold, and also the interior stuff in your book. Hopefully you are not copywriting anybody. I think you know better than that. And so once you are sure that those 2 things are correct, you're going to click publish my book. Yay! That's how quick it was, like 2 seconds later. So it says ebook success. You've currently submitted The Cursed Hunter, successfully submitted it to all the retailers. It's currently being published, which means they're sending out that info to all of those publishers that you clicked that you wanted it to be available on. You can go to the book's detail page or click this little button here on the right to see what its status is and when it actually is fully uploaded to those platforms and it's available for pre-order. So let's go to that page. This is the book's page. If I scroll down, it's going to show me the details for the book. My current projected royalty is $2.37. My current price. You can do changing prices. You can see where it's published online. This is really handy. You could definitely screenshot this and, you know, put it somewhere to show people, like on your website or something. This is where my book is. This is where it's available. You can also go to download a specific type of file of the book right here, which is so cool. So you don't have to go all the way back to that other page that I showed you. You can just come right here and download the Mobi file if that's what you want, or download a sample of it if that's what you want. And then you can go ahead and scroll up here to see what they call the UBL, which stands for Universal Book Link. And this is the second bonus feature that I absolutely love about Draft2Digital. I'm gonna click on it and show you what it looks like. This is the universal book link for The Cursed Hunter. So what it does is it takes all of the stores where The Cursed Hunter is available. Technically they are ebook stores, but once you click on one, like say Kindle, you'll see that right next to the ebook is the paperback and the hardcover. So really it's showing you your book everywhere. It's one link, one universal book link to send to your readers, to put on YouTube videos, to put on social media, to send out for interviews, to send to people who, like a media package or whatever you want to call it. It's one link that you can give people where they can find your book on all vendors in all formats. So that's the generic universal book link, but that's sort of a random compilation of numbers and letters. So you can actually, I have to find it, hold on. I think it's under my account. Yep, there it is, universal book links. You can scroll down here and you have a universal book link dashboard. This is my dashboard for the universal book links. It's just loading. And so right there, you can see the actual books. These are all coming from Draft2Digital, including some guides. But over here is the actual universal book link, but then right below it, I have made a custom link. So instead of having to remember this gobbledygook, I just have bookstorey.com/thecursedhunter. And if your book title is unique, of course, if there's another book that happens to have taken it, then that could be a tricky thing. You might have to add some special details or, you know, call it Cursed Hunter or something like that. But you can get a book link that's specific to you, that's customizable. You can add store links to that book, and then you can see how many people click on it. So this is really, really helpful and cool. I really love this feature. The Stolen Kingdom has been out the longest, and you can see that over the time that I've started using this universal book link, it has been used 554 times. So that's awesome. And if you want to edit your link, I believe you just click this right here. So say for example, if I get my books onto Google Play, which I hope to do eventually, then you're gonna click here, you're gonna copy the link from the website that you want and paste it in here, and that will be added to your universal book link. This is where you can add that custom name if you wanted to name it. So I added mine as The Stolen Kingdom. And there you have it. You can click copy link and you have a fantastic link. It even tells you, check this out, 554 readers found your book via this link specifically, 441 went to Amazon, 45 went to Apple, and 18 went to Indigo, and those are just the top 3 stores. So there you go. That's how I upload to Draft2Digital. It is also how I format my ebooks, and I love it, and it's also how I get a universal book link. So all around, absolutely love Draft2Digital, love that platform, and highly recommend it. I will link it below if you want to go check it out and see if it's for you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it to help my channel, and subscribe if you want more videos like this in the future. I will again have all the other videos I mentioned linked below if you want to go and watch those and find out more about publishing and the indie publishing world. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye!